Hello, hello. Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast, No More Excuses. I am your host, Sandi Ballard. Thanks for being here, for listening, for sharing this podcast. And thank you to those who reached out to me and said congratulations on the new milestone for hitting over 50,000 downloads for all the years I've been doing this. 219 weeks in a row, right? And for all of you, whether you have just discovered podcasts or for those of you who just discovered this one, thank you for making May the highest download month. So appreciate it. Again, if you're new here or if you have not yet reached out to me, please do connect with me on social media and share the podcast, tag me, and again, just reach out to me. I love hearing where you're from, where you're listening from, because I do have listeners all around the world, and that's super cool. And yes, all around the world, there is unrest. It's affected us in some way. Not to make light of anything, but I actually was like, did we send the Hornets back, or did they just make a detour because they were like, oh, hell no. I'm not getting in the middle of that shit show here in the United States, at least. The pandemic, the vid has hit us all over the world. And so I'm hoping that you, wherever you're listening, are reemerging and getting out there and staying healthy. But, in last week's podcast, I suggested that we focus on our future and put the vid talk on the back burner. I think we all needed a little distraction, but I don't know that anyone was suggesting this, right? This meaning the unfortunate and devastating chaos and uncertainty that's going on with the protests and with the shit that happened with the police and George Floyd and Breonna and anyone else out there that has lost their life or been hurt because of the bullshit of police brutality and racism. And I don't normally get into this, but this all is affecting our businesses. Yes, because of this unfortunate and devastating time, some great things will happen because of it. Much like after the COVID, after quarantine, we've all found new things and different things and ways to pivot. But the biggest change that still yet needs to happen is change. It begins with the mindset. Yes, I'm still talking about it, and it's because of a negative mindset that all of this is happening. And whether Brianna did or didn't do what she did, whether George Floyd was a good man or not, no one deserves to die like that, right? And I was happy to hear the police officers will face charges. Change. And things still need to change, including the ones causing the chaos. The unfortunate part is that there are those who feel they can use the protests as a platform for the opportunity to riot and loot. They're destroying businesses and lives. Yes, some of the businesses are very large and might be easier to overcome this. I just remember seeing Urban Outfitters just getting destroyed and Vons. Yeah, maybe they have insurance. However, some of these businesses, a lot of these businesses are sole owners, family-owned businesses who have endured enough pain and loss during this quarantine, and we're looking forward to opening. And now they may not be able to. And I'm going to be honest and say I think it's bullshit that people can protest, even the positive ones, and that are working to create change. Yet businesses are having to pivot, adjust, and restaurants work at 50% capacity. And Disney, I mean, some of these organizations are having to remodel and renovate just so they can reopen. All right, I'll get off that soapbox. Because like many of you, I'm angry, scared, anxious, and worried. When I walk down the streets, it hurts my heart to see businesses boarded up because of fear, and they're protecting their livelihood. Yes, this is a business podcast, and all of this chaos, this continued shit show, is affecting business owners and their families. I'm hopeful for the change, and I'm so sad to see that racism still exists in such a huge way. I'm white. I don't know if you've ever seen my picture. I'm white, and I've experienced racism towards me many years ago when I lived in a neighborhood. loved the homes, moved in. I had no idea that I would experience I guess you call it reverse racism. I was in the minority. It was hurtful and confusing. And I'm sure it wasn't, I know it wasn't anything like what the Black community has to go through on a regular basis. And I will say I'm probably oblivious to some of it because I've always had friends. I still have friends and clients of all races. Many are gay, transgender, transracial. And I don't do anything different as a coach or a person with any of them, but that's me. And again, I do hope people's mindset will shift because of this and things will change in a positive manner. A lot of times you'll hear me say, if you've listened to me for a long time, it's time. It's time for all of us to get off our asses and do. It's time for all of us to get off our asses and make amazing shit happen and move forward together. In last week's podcast, I talked about revising 2020's goals and to only focus on June for right now as we reemerge. Well, because of all this chaos and the damage, I wanted you to choose one thing that you would have that had changed and how your word of the year can help you with that, right? Did you do it? I understand it's hard to think about yourself and your business when there's so much unrest and people that truly need your help. So, how can you help? Is there a way you can help? And if so, how? But before you do, here's where my mind has been swimming in chaos. I've gotten so many emails from large corporations, Uber, Lyft, Google, and then smaller ones too. And I've seen posts from people, probably white, who are now making large donations to organizations that are focused on helping the Black community. And I'm glad to see about that, but I was also I was asking, were these companies doing this all along? And if so, why didn't they just say, we've increased or we've always helped, blah? It seems like some people are doing this now because they want people to know, oh, we're helping. Well, why weren't you in the first place if you were these large corporations? But are people also doing this now because they feel like they quote unquote have to? Or do they truly want to? My point isn't whether anyone should or shouldn't donate to or volunteer for a certain organization or change how they direct their funds and time. But like I always talk about, when you go to do anything, make sure it aligns with your values and you're doing it for the right reasons, not because you feel like you, in quotes, like you should, otherwise you'll be judged. The should. I feel like I should do this. Do you want to do it? Does it work with your soul? After working with so many nonprofits, I'm thankful and hopeful that many organizations will get additional funds. But is it what they need? How will those funds help? They weren't out there protesting because of lack of funding. Many people are protesting, and I know many of my friends and clients who have been out there protesting peacefully, and they are not hurting financially. They're doing it to help change others' mindsets and to help end police brutality. Change. There's so much that we've seen happen this year and so much change that has happened, and there's still more to come. Yet again, we're given the opportunity to look deeper into ourselves. Whether you're a business owner, a wannabe, or someone with a side gig, take some time for you this week. You can't move forward with a clouded mind or a heavy heart. Take some time and pause, and then, only then, do what you need to do, what you want to do to help. Don't worry or be upset if you don't think of anything, that you have anything to offer or nothing comes to mind. Many people have time versus money, and vice versa. It's time. It's time to help yourself, your friends, staff, coworkers reemerge, even if it's just listening, especially if it's listening. Let's help people achieve the success they desire, the peace that we all desire, because now, more than ever, we are all in this together. Email me, sballard@growingforward.biz. After you've thought about this and taken some time to pause and reflect, think about, or tell me, or post here, how you are, have, or will help. All right. Again, this has been just a continued crazy time. And I, again, thank you and appreciate all of you for being here, for listening, for sharing this podcast, and for listening to my little soapbox this week. But man, it's been a whirlwind of emotions again. And I really am holding the positive space for change in a positive way. So again, even if you're going to go out there and hold a sign, be careful, be safe more than ever. And I look forward to hearing from you on how you can have or will help someone else. Cheers.